Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Fox News host Charles Payne just lit Jessica Tarlov on fire, figuratively. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. You know, every liberal you listen to wants to talk about former President Donald Trump's divisive rhetoric. He's a divider. He has grievances. He's dividing Americans against each other. Stop it. Stop it. I love what Charles Payne did in this interview. He tells Jessica Tarlov they use MAGA instead of a slogan. Democrats use it like it's a curse word. MAGA, MAGA extremist, MAGA, like it's a terrorist organization. And Charles Payne says in this segment, he's like, this guy hates half the country, literally hates them. And you're going to talk about Trump being divisive? Get out of here. And Jessica Tarlov tries to defend herself and just gets piled on. This may be one of the most brutal beatdowns I have ever seen on Fox News. And look, Jessica Tarlov's taken her share of brutal beatdowns on Fox News. This one was off the charts. I want you guys to see it, and I really want your comments on it. Also, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out. I'm Carmine Sabia for Explain America. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care, everybody.
That are voting for Nikki Haley, that some of them have voted for Ron DeSantis, who maybe is more in his lane. But the Nikki Haley voter, are they going to try to get them, do you think?
Well, I'm certainly not an advisor to the Trump campaign, but it is, you know, we talk in the millions of votes when we're talking about the general election, but it actually comes down to the tens of thousands, right? The margins in Georgia, in Arizona, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, it's minute. Right. It can be the difference between whether you came out and you criticized your opponent's dress, which some could interpret as demeaning a woman, again, which is obviously something that he suffers from, or just making a little offhanded comment that someone says, you know what, I'm going to sit home, or actually, I want 4 more years of Joe Biden. So, yes, it would be smart, as it always was when he was president, if he would listen to Kayleigh about this. But he has an uncontrollable narcissism and rage about him when he feels insulted. And it's appealing to the base. They say, we love it. He's a counterpuncher. But you've now lost a general election. You've presided over the loss of the Republican Senate, the Republican House. The abortion has been on the ballot 7 times. Democrats have swept it in all of that. And he has not moderated at all. And frankly, I don't think it's in him for him to be able to do it for more than 20 minutes.
You know, Charles, you talked about the issues here and how immigration here is at the top, but it also is an economic issue, and It crosses all boundaries. And it is a weakness for President Biden and the Democrats. Dean Phillips talks about this on the trail, and he talks about how Democrats demean MAGA voters. He talked about it with me today, saying that, you know, it's just strange that they're talking about a group of voters like that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's narcissism. I think if it's, you've lived in New York long enough, you know it's maybe a New York thing. Someone punches you, you punch him back harder. That's the way I grew up in Harlem.
Not if the country's at stake, right?
He became president of the United States with that same personality. I don't think that, you know, listen, I think it's worse with Biden calling MAGA. Biden's anger and vitriol and hatred for MAGA is far more worse than President Trump's individual battles with someone who crosses him. That is something that is really detrimental to this country, that the president of the United States despises half of the United States. President Biden, I said earlier today, about a week ago, I had a segment coming up, so I Googled Biden hates MAGA. Nothing but articles after articles after articles. He has expressed hatred for half of the country.
Who's writing those articles?
It doesn't matter. Look
and it's
at
not.
him. Because the bottom line is he says it. He has vitriol for them. And so does MSNBC, and so does CNN, and so does the New York Times. They have vitriol for half of the nation. They don't look at them like fellow Americans, and it's unfortunate. They try to paint them as racist. All the things that they do to their fellow Americans who simply want a safe home, a safe community, for their children to have prosperity. They want the same thing, but they demean them all the time. That's why I think Phillips was so intriguing, because he went to a rally to find out for himself. And guess what? Golly, these are some pretty cool people. They're just like us.
Exactly what Jamie Dimon said this week as well.
Yeah.
And it's smart to understand. And also you see the shift that's happening, right? You look at black voters, Hispanic voters, college women, Latinos who have moved towards Trump. Yes. So it's no longer that people are in these boxes based on what their gender is or what they look like. They appear to want, a safe country, and they appear to want a good economy, regardless of what label they have.
That's completely fine, and I know that the lines have shifted dramatically, but Joe Biden's responsible for a lot of that. You say that he's demeaned half the country. First of all, it's 74 million people that voted for Donald Trump, and he is explicit every time he talks about the MAGA movement to say that this is a subsection of the Republican Party, which is borne out in elections when you see people voting against Donald Trump. And this idea that
But what about the people
way that
voting for him?
Democrats-
What about the people voting for him? He
I'm
gives
getting to-
teleprompter speeches. I mean, you have to understand that
Yes, but he is talking about insurrectionists.
No,
yes, he is.
No.
Why is he talking about January 6th? And he says
MAGA like it's a swear word, instead of a slogan.
If you get called regularly,
He's the
and which
president of the
Democrats do,
United States.
thugs,
He's the commander-in-chief.
pedophiles.
Why can't he call the border a
socialists,
crisis
communists?
while he's denigrating and
That's not what we're
castigating
talking
Americans?
about,
No, the voters are talking about that,
No,
Jessica.
but
Excuse
this
me,
point is about
respectfully,
demeaning voters.
The president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, went to Philadelphia a year and a half ago with a Marine posted behind him.
I saw.
And gave a decidedly political speech where he insulted a large part of the country. And I've said many times on this network, and I'll say it again tonight, if people, a lot of people, spend a fraction of the time that they spend obsessing over Donald Trump, the person, learning one thing about the Trump voter, things may be very different. This is Joe Biden's version of Hillary's deplorable and irredeemable.
And here's one thing. We're going to be talking about this for many months. So we have to move on.
I'm excited.
Okay. Thank you all.